Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and welcome to my weekly Plan With Me video. All the supplies I am using and everything you see will be listed in the description box below in case you're curious. We're going to start with this planner. This is the one I made from gardening catalogs because that's super fun to do. And I'm going to write all the things I drew this past week, starting with yesterday, going back in time. So I did a European robin. I did a couple on that one. It was very fun. Oh, I did a keel-billed toucan. There's a bunch of different types of toucans. And they all have a little bit of variance on the color of their beak, which is an excellent heat conductor. A hooded patooey. I've drawn and painted this bird before. It's poisonous, like its skin and stuff, and that makes it really unique. I did turtle doves. The prompt was turtle, so I'm doing everything bird, and that seemed like the smart way to go. Bald eagle. I am following Doodle Wash's World Watercolor Month prompts, but it is going to get deceptively harder. Okay, so this was a black throated, I know, okay, throated gray warbler. There are lots of warblers. That's the one I drew, and then I did cardinals. I know, all birds. Lots and lots of birds. So it's very mixed media. I am watercoloring the trees, I am inking the birds, and then there is a light gouache wash that has gold that shimmers on the page. Here's one. I don't know if you can see the shimmer, but yeah. So ink and watercolor, tons of fun. Okay, whoops, wrong pen. And then, so I did my 2026 planner plans video, because I love having planners, especially for my YouTube. And then this was the week, I want to say 27. Let me make sure. Yeah, week 27 video. Okay, we are all set there. So let's move on to my other planner. I know, I don't need to, but it was so much fun to create that one, and I really like having sort of a crafty collage project once a year, and that seemed to suffice for that. Let me zoom in here a little bit better. So this is my gallon leather. I took a Copic multiliner in warm gray and I cut the page in half for 1 week. And there's my date notes. It's very pale. It's the ink equivalent to a pencil. So let's do this on the other side and we can sort of toggle and bounce around our stuff. I did 7 bird drawings. Tree research, again, some of these I have trees that match the birds they belong in. Some of the trees I'm just inventing because it's easier. The other note I need to make, creative prompt solutions. So some of these prompts, I don't know how I'm going to do them. Fast food. How am I going to do fast food with birds and trees? Like have an insect go by and that's the fast food? I don't know. I'm going to have to figure it out though. Okay, and then I did the week 27 video. And then I did my planner plans for 2026. And I showed my planner setup for folks that are interested in stuff like that. Okay, sorry about that. For this, I am going to use my Copic multiliner in olive. This is the 0.5. I never use these pens. I've had these for 8 to 9 years. I really love the shade range. These are not tints, they're darker hues, so shades. More so than the Sakura microns, but I am heavy-handed and I destroy nibs like you wouldn't believe. So that is something I have to be cognizant of, is how hard I press down when I go to draw. And today we are going to draw, if you want to draw with me, we're going to draw my husband's favorite land animal. And I'm going to try and get it all on the page. So, and again, I have to hold the pen kind of strange because, again, the nib is kind of crushed. I don't mean to be so heavy-handed, and I think it may be from drawing on cold water, like watercolor paper, the cold press, the heavy texture, because I will ink on any paper that I can find, and sometimes I feel like really heavily textured paper is harder on the nibs. So that's just me forcing a pen to do a thing it didn't want to do. And I don't know if you can see a lot of variance between this green Pilot pen, this is the G2 and 07, and this olive. There's a little bit of difference. But again, I'm not sure the screen picks that up. But I just haven't used this pen in forever. And I do love this color. I love all the infinite shades of darker greens. I think this pen might be on its last legs. It's in poor shape. So I am drawing, excuse me, I'm drawing a giraffe. My husband loves giraffes. There's tons of different kinds. Yes. We used to live by a zoo where you could give them snacks, branches. The zoo we have now is much smaller. Oh, let me get a pencil board real quick for this. Once again, I'm pressing a little bit harder, and it's just because I don't know how much ink is left in this pen. A lot of my pens are on their last legs, and I don't really get rid of them until absolutely necessary. Giraffes are fascinating though. They have these, they're not horns and they're not antlers. They're called ossicones. I know. Welcome to Kendra's Wildlife Corner. We're going to talk about wildlife. Let's talk about animals of Africa because those are my favorite. If you've ever been to the webpage, the Africa Wildlife Foundation, awf.org, I love them. I love them and the work they do. My favorite land animal is the rhinoceros. I love them so much. I can't even tell you why. I just see them and I'm like, yep, that's it. That's it for me. They are another pachyderm, but I did elephants for the first week of animals. So I'm really hoping this pen doesn't die, but it's feeling like it's going to. So maybe this will be 2 different colors. Oh man. I'm really trying to... I'm using my products. I won't be replacing this green pen when it finally dies, just because I have a bunch of other greens, and again, these nibs seem too frail for the amount of work and things I demand of them. I don't always put medium to the specific surface that is recommended. I tend to make all my supplies do what I want. So I will pastel on super smooth paper, same with like charcoal. I don't use pastel mat. I will ink on watercolor paper. Like I put all my mediums through their paces. I'm working on the eye in case you're curious. I demand a lot of my mediums, and in a lot of ways that uses them up quicker just because it's not always the recommended surface. But I like pushing things. I like making things do double duty. I don't like having, specific supplies only for specific stuff. I am not going to be able to fit all of him onto this page though, especially his neck. Oh, we were talking about ossicones, weren't we? Okay, so they're not 2 horns and they're not antlers, but giraffes aren't the only ones that have them. Okapis have them too, the ossicone. Males and females both have them. They differ a little bit in appearance, in case you're curious. And they think that they play a part in like the animal's behavior, like male-male combat. Like they fight with them and stuff. I know, that's rough. And they think they help with temperature regulation. So everything serves a purpose. A dual function, if you will. trying to denote that this is the other eye. Giraffes have the best eyelashes, especially from like specific angles and stuff. I'm here for it. Eyelash goals. So, boy, I'm really killing this pen. That's okay. I used a lot of pens last year when I was doing my Midori Hibino, because the Tomoe River surface is like my favorite surface for inks because it's so smooth. So I use up a lot of ink when I use this paper. It's my favorite. I will watercolor on this surface. It's just, it's a little streaky and the drying time takes a little longer. But if you are willing to be patient with it and really take your time, you can sort of move the streaks around in a desired pattern. The page is thin, it's double coated, so you do get sort of that warble and, you know, the water warps the paper, which is part of the charm, I suppose, with some folks. I don't mind it. Again, when I'm in the mood to watercolor, and if I'm using this paper, I'm going to watercolor on this paper. I feel like I'm really stressing this pen out. But to get the ink, I feel like I'm being more heavy-handed than I should be. Okay, so I know a few folks are doing a drawing challenge this month. July's kind of a fun one, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere with the warmer weather, like watercolors and stuff dry quicker. I've done a few drawing challenges in December, and that has led to mold issues and stuff. We have extreme moisture and humidity where I live. I live in a forest. I know, I'm living my best forest life, but with that comes wonky weather and stuff. So take July, for example. We're having like AM fog, PM clouds. It's been very overcast this month. It's very, very humid. The fog in the summer is what waters the trees. The trees pull it out of the air. So I can't complain. I can't do it. I have a blow dryer. We're good to go. We'll just, you know, sometimes we dry the art that way without trying to blow the watercolor across the page. I know, this poor pen. I feel like I should retire it after this drawing, but I know I'm not gonna. I'm gonna be like, there's one more illustration in this pen. I can feel it. Okay. Anyway. Getting a nice value range though, since it's fading so fast. I'm getting all the pale stuff, which would be harder with a brand new pen. Okay, let's move on. We're just gonna do the face bits. I don't have enough space with this horizontal orientation to include the neck, though the neck is what makes them so spectacular. I love how they drink water. I love how they drink water. I love how they're always like the first to reach the top of trees. It kind of reminds me of my husband. My husband's very tall. And so when we go places, there are folks that constantly ask him to reach stuff high up and hand it to him. And he's so nice. Oh, he's so kind about it. He like almost expects it. Like people that ask him, can you get that down for me? I can't reach it. Like everywhere we go. It's everywhere. He's so polite. Okay. That's really sweet. Okay. We need to do some sort of like cheek situation. This poor pen. I'm not going to stop saying that for this whole video. Yeah, what I'm going to switch over to with all my pens and stuff are the technical pens. Let's see if I can. The Rotring isographs, and then buying inks and filling these because they have metal nibs And then they're refillable. Like here, I'll open it up. You just refill this portion in here. And it's super easy, everything just screws on. And I don't have to worry about wrecking them with the pressure and stuff that I have when I press down. And then there's less like waste, plastic waste from all these plastic components you can't reuse. So yeah, that's the direction I'm headed with inks and technical pens and stuff. Fine liners. I mean, I started using microns, I want to say in the early 90s, 92, 93. And I recommend them if you're starting out or you're interested in doing more fine tip drawing. But I've had a lot of trouble with them the last 3 or 4 years. And I swear I'm not pressing any differently than I normally do. But the nibs are just shrinking back into the pens. So, and then you tweezer them and pull the nib back out and it goes back in. So I don't know if they've changed a little bit of manufacturing over the decades, or if it's just me and going for the gusto while I draw, which I tend to do sometimes, like user error, I fully admit that. But it's just a battle I no longer want to have. So switching to a technical pen that's just refillable is, especially with the quantity I draw. I draw a lot, so every day. Like even my painting challenge has a drawing component to it, so I need to round out the head a little bit. Yeah, that's where I'm at with that. So I'll have to find a really nice green that I like. And I will need a couple more technical pens so I don't have to keep changing out the inks inside of them or waiting till the ink is empty. Do I have space for a little bit of an ear? I could do a little ear. So, yep. And that's just sort of the evolution of the more you create, the more you draw, and the more you move through your art supplies, the more you find what you like, what you don't like, what you want to change up. It's just getting to know your supplies and getting to know your preferences. And then the more you draw, the more you see the types of things you like to draw. And that can have an impact on the amount of supplies you have and what supplies you buy. Like for colored pencils, I like having a lot of browns because I draw a lot of animals, and the browns really help me. The convenience colors help me save time for mixing and stuff. So having like a walnut brown and a Van Dyke brown and a sepia and having all those are really, really helpful for me. More so than somebody that, you know, doesn't do a ton of animals and isn't interested in all the brown. I like all the brown. Okay, let's do some neck things here. Anyway. So, the benefits of drawing every day and using drawing challenges as an excuse to get your supplies out and try what you have, see what you use. Sometimes buying sets is helpful, sometimes it's not. Like there could be a lot of colors you don't use, or it could be missing colors, and then you realize, okay, I bought the wrong set for the kind of art I like to create. Hold on, there's an airplane. Sorry about that. Search and rescue is out early. And those are our airplanes we have. It's all search and rescue, which shout out to our first responders. We appreciate you searching. We appreciate you rescuing. Our forest is no joke, and we get a lot of tourists in the summertime because our wintertime is so rainy and cold. People don't come here in the winter. And people get lost. They go missing. They fall in our rivers. They drown in our ocean. Be real mindful when you're traveling to new areas. Talk to the locals, you know, be real careful. Mind all the warnings and signs you see. Like we have sharks, we have all kinds of things here. We have bears. Our news was cracking me up the other day because too many people had reported the bear downtown. There was like a bear downtown walking around. and everybody had reported him, and they're like, we know, you don't have to keep reporting that there's a bear downtown walking around. We know. Like, everybody's good. Everybody's minding their own business. They're leaving him be. They're letting him walk around. Yeah. We have bears that go through our backyard. They grab our trash can. They drag it down the street a little bit. And then I have to call our company and tell them I did not claw our can. That was not me. That was our bear. And they laugh and they go, we know, Kendra. You keep reporting it. It's fine. We know it's not you damaging your own stuff. So we have a lot of deer. A lot of deer go through our backyard. We have deer come up to the front door. We have skunks. Our dog has been sprayed in the face. We have a lot of raccoons. Yeah. I mean, there's foxes and all kinds. There's just all kinds of stuff. So forest living is not for the faint of heart. We love it. It's very wild. But folks need to be mindful and careful. And we've got first responders that help with all the things. So that's nice. It's nice they're there to do the things. Okay, so this is my giraffe. My giraffe and a half. Okay. And we need some birds. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm retiring this pen just yet. I know. You're like, you really should though. There's still some ink in here. Okay, so there is my illustration. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.